bag.
Hey gang, Tony here. I have a little bit of time before classes start, so I thought I would do my yard sale haul video. This was a good weekend for yard sales. Mr. Tony the Dead came down. I'll hopefully splice in some pictures and some video I have a little later from when we were out. But seems like every time Tony comes down here, we have a great haul, a great yard sale haul. And this was no different. We went to the flea market to start, and then we hit what we thought were going to be only a couple of yard sales turned into like an actual good amount. And there was one sale in particular which was amazing, so I'll tell you all about that. Overall, this yard selling experience was a little frustrating because I by far left more behind than I bought. And that is partly because I'm trying to save money, partly because I'm trying to clear stuff out and not bring more stuff in, and partly because I know that I'm not going to be selling anything either. So whereas I might have bought some of this stuff just to sell, to make a few bucks, I'm not really as interested in that right now, partly because of the promotion, and I don't really need to worry that much about money for at least a little while. And partly because, again, the promotion, I don't have the time to be listing stuff on eBay to make 20 bucks, 30 bucks, or whatever. So, I'll show you what I got. I'll tell you what I passed on at the flea market. And the same is going to be true for the yard sale that we went to, or the good yard sale we went to. So, I've been looking for records, Halloween records. I don't know, those of you who are new here maybe don't know, I have a little Halloween record collection. And I always kind of flip through records and stuff to see if I could find any, and amazingly I actually found 4 records, 4 Halloween or horror type records this weekend, which is great because I've really been wanting to add to the collection. Alright, so the first 2 I found were little, were they 45s, sorry, no, this one is 33 1/3 RPM, this one is 45. Alright, well anyway, the first one I spotted was Casper, which is not amazing, not specifically Halloween or horror, but I was willing to make the exception there. The Friendly Ghost Casper, The Creaky Staircase. Pretty decent condition, little bent on the top, but I'm okay with that. He wanted $2 each for these small ones. I found another one, and I got them for $3, so I guess $1.50 each. This one I'm infinitely more excited about. It's called Mother Ghost Nursery Rhymes and Other Tricks and Treats. And then on the other side, it says Georgie, narrated by Bob McFadden. And that looks like a little ghost story. So each side has something a little different. This is from 1968 Scholastic Magazines and Scholastic Records. Pretty neat. Very excited about that one. I haven't listened to any of these yet. I just haven't had the time. And then at the flea market, I also found, and this is actually one that I've seen around at on eBay, and I've almost bought it on eBay because it doesn't go for that much money. But I'm glad I've been passing on it because I found a copy at the flea market. This is not in great condition. It looks like the whole thing was bent at some point. You could kind of see there's a crease down the middle. You could also see that someone drew into the letters there with a pen. This is a Disneyland record. Chilling, thrilling sounds of the haunted house. Added bonus inside, spooky party hints. I don't know if that's still there or not. Look at the back. And oh, on here. That's actually really cool. I didn't even look at this really. Check that out. Super, super cool. I love the way that looks. I like that a little more than the outside of the record, to be honest. And then the record, of course, looks like it's in decent shape. Nothing special going on there, just peek at that. Interestingly enough, we went to a different flea market. I call it like the Dirt Mall because I don't really like that other flea market very much. But they have a record section, and interestingly, they had this record there as well. I got it for $1 at the flea market. They wanted $3 at this other flea market, but it was in better condition. And it was a slightly different issuing of it as well. I almost bought it anyway, but I left it behind, and instead I bought this one, which was from the same seller. It's in pretty bad condition, but I don't have it, so I grabbed it. Monster Shindig. The top is ripped open. I'm going to try to fix that, maybe glue it or something. Pretty cool looking. He wanted $3. I pointed out the condition of it and got it for $2. There was a ton of other Halloween stuff at the flea market. They had blow molds. They had this guy, and they had one of these. I forget which one it was. It looks kind of like that guy. So they had those. Actually, 2 people had that one. So there were 2 of those and 1 of these. And normally I would buy it anyway, even though I have them already, but they were asking like $7 or $8. I might have been able to get them for $5, but I have them already. I'm really trying not to just add unnecessary junk to my, my place. So I passed on those, which hurt a little, but I passed on them. Then there was another blow mold, which was one I don't have. It was this little green witch that was kind of like flat. Probably worth a few bucks. They wanted like $8 for it though, and I was kind of being sort of picky. I maybe should have offered $5, but I passed on that as well. And then the things that really hurt were they had 2 different, kind of like this, only they were the Motionette figures. One of them was this size, the other one was like that much bigger. It was big. They weren't the really good ones. The Motionette ones, like if you could get the Universal Monsters ones, those are really worth a lot. Well, they're really sought after, I guess you could say. They just had the witch. One was a witch and one was kind of like a warlock looking guy. And I was trying really hard to get the biggest one, the big one, for $15. I would have sprung for 15. He wouldn't go that low on it, and he was trying to sell both of them. He was going to do $30 on both, which is, it was a good price, but $30 at the time, didn't want to spend it, don't have room for it, that kind of stuff. And plus, the one that was smaller was kind of in a bad condition, the box, and I really didn't want to get both. $20 for just the one was a little more than I wanted to spend. It hurt to pass on those. It was a decent price, but I had to leave them behind. The one yard sale that we hit, amazing. Oh my god, it was so crazy. Insane. It was like a dream come true, sort of. It was one of those deals where there's nothing outside, and then they're like, what are you looking for? I said, video games. And she's like, oh, you go inside with him. So, we waited a sec to find, we went inside. First of all, the place was disgusting. I felt really bad, but it was like a hoarder's place, I guess, and there was crap everywhere. I have video of a couple of the rooms. I'm going to show you what I mean, so I'll post that in. Yeah. No, if not, then I just don't get it. How do you know? So you can see it was pretty gross. But he had an amazing video game collection. He had... Alright, so, again, I left a lot behind. I didn't have a lot of money with me. I don't want to add to my collection right now. People are going to yell at me, but he had a Virtual Boy. He had Atari Lynx handheld systems. He had a boxed Sega Master System, Dreamcast, Sega CD, Sega 32X, Genesis, Nintendo 64, every Atari system you could think of. All the Ataris. I don't really collect Atari, but he had a bunch of different Atari systems. He had the Neo Geo Gold, which was like a reissue kind of thing that they did, maybe a decade ago or something. I can't remember exactly when. Neo Geo Pocket Color. What else? Bunch of stuff, just a ton of stuff, and then he had a bunch of random video games around. His prices were decent, so he wasn't asking like eBay prices, but he wasn't asking like rock bottom, like, oh, I'll take $5 kind of thing either. It was right in the middle. So the Virtual Boy, I believe, if I remember correctly, was asking like about $50. The Neo Geo thing, he was asking like $60 or $70, I think. The Atari Lynx handhelds, he was asking pretty low because he said they were broken or something. There was something wrong with them. I might have picked those up if they weren't broken. So anyway, I didn't have the money with me. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to deal with it. So I called my buddy Pete up, who owns a video game store, and I was like, listen, dude, I'm going to do you a solid here. I can't, I'm just not in a place to buy this stuff. I don't want to do it right now. So you come and get it before someone else does. He went. He actually did get he paid. Well, I won't say what he paid, but he got the Virtual Boy, the Atari Lynxes, the Pocket Neo Geo, the Neo Geo Gold, some games, I think. So he picked up a lot of the stuff there that I would have if I was interested, like at the time. Anyway, long story short, I picked up some video games and I got some good scores, I think. So I got Boogerman for Genesis. I actually already, if you watch my videos, you know that I already got the game at a flea market recently. So I actually just bought the case and the manual from him. So I completed my Boogerman. Tailspin for Genesis. Got the manuals in most of these, I think. Got the T2 arcade game. That's in like a cardboard packaging. Then we got Sega CD. I don't have many Sega CD games, so I was super excited for that. Has the manual and everything, so that's pretty neat. And then we got, oh, get out of there, Wiz and Liz. Lots of Genesis. He had a couple of Nintendo games, but mostly stuff I had. And his prices were kind of wacky. Like, he seemed to know what most of the consoles were worth, but then on games he was a little weird. Like, some games that weren't worth a lot, he was asking like $5 each. Other games that were worth more, he was asking less. He didn't really have a firm grasp on the games. Crash Test Dummies. So I basically picked up, he didn't have any Genesis games that were like crazy amazing or anything, but there are some decent ones here. I think they're all between like $10 and $25, $10 to $25 in value-ish per game. I don't remember why I got this. I'll be honest, like, I saw this when I got home and I was like, did I pick that? Did it somehow slip into my pile? I don't know. So there are other games I would have rather have gotten over this one. They had Jurassic Park that I passed on because I have the game. Mortal Kombat I had, but they had, the cases. It would have been nice to have, but I didn't want to pay for it. So that's all of the Genesis stuff. Oh no, there are two more here. Had a couple of loose games as well. I snagged the Comic Zone, which I actually have complete, but he only wanted $1 for this one. That's what I mean. Like, It was weird prices. He wanted $5 for, you know, Tailspin, but then $1 for Comic Zone. This is worth more loose than Tailspin is complete. I don't know. And then 32X game Metalhead. And I got 3 GameCube games. The Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventures. It's about a $25 game, $20 game, something like that. Does not have the none of the GameCube games had the manuals, which was annoying. And the games are really in bad shape, like scratched, but I tested them all and they all work, so that's what matters. So I got that. I got Super Smash Bros. Melee. It's about a $50 game. Something like that, 40, 50. I don't know. No manual again in this one. But despite the scratched disc, it works. And finally, the score of the day for me. Tony got some huge scores, and obviously Pete got some huge scores because I told him about the sale. But this was my big one. It is Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. That's a nearly $100 game. Something around that. Again, no manual. Game's kind of scratched, but it works. So, probably realistically more like an $80, 70, 80, something like that, without the manual. Alright, that does it for, let's double check here. That does it for my yard sale finds. As you can tell, I got some really good stuff, but I left a lot of really good stuff behind. You know, people are going to yell at me for not picking up the Virtual Boy, the Motionette, Halloween figures, pretty much any of those video games. A lot of the video game systems that guy had, I already have. The ones I mentioned were the ones that like the Atari Lynx and the Neo Geo and stuff like that. Do I regret not picking that stuff up? The obsessive collector in me, a little bit, but then like the realist in me knows that I don't have time to play them, I don't have room to store them, I don't have time to sell them, which is kind of like, that was my thought process on them. Like, there's just no room, no time, no inclination, so I pass it along to my buddy. Alright, I'm gonna go. I'll come back with one more video from the trade I did with Mr. Tony of the Dead. See you guys soon. Bye.